At Starbucks, we've more than doubled paid parental leave, now up to 18 weeks. Which means Starbucks baristas can spend more time with the best company they know, their families. At Starbucks, benefits like parental leave are just the start.
For a limited time at McDonald's, get a Big Mac Extra Value Meal for $8. That means 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, and medium fries, and a drink. We may need to change that jingle.
Prices and participation may vary.
Tonight, turn down the noise of the day and focus on the rest with AGZ, the nightly drink for winding down and resting up. New from AG1. AGZ supports your body's natural sleep cycle with clinically studied key herbs, adaptogens, and minerals in amounts supported by research. And no melatonin, helping you wake feeling rested. Wind down, rest up with AGZ. Learn more at drinkagz.com.
At Blinds.com, it's not just about window treatments. It's about you, your style, your space, your way. Whether you DIY or want the pros to handle it all, you'll have the confidence of knowing it's done right. From free expert design help to our 100% satisfaction guarantee, everything we do is made to fit your life and your windows. Because at Blinds.com, the only thing we treat better than windows is you. Visit Blinds.com now for up to 50% off primetime deals and free professional installation. Rules and restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
Hello and welcome to the Assassin's Creed Lorecast. We are so excited to bring you this show.
Our podcast is all about unraveling all of your favorite mysteries from the Assassin's Creed games. Each episode we'll be talking about a different topic in the Assassin's Creed universe. From Pieces of Eden, solar flares, and the Isu, to the Hidden Ones, the Order of Ancients, and of course, the Animus, we will seek to uncover it all.
So join us and maybe even take a leap of faith.
Welcome to the Assassin's Creed Lorecast. My name is Shelby. You also know me as She-Cup.
Hey, I am Austin or Teacup.
And we're back with another Assassin versus Templar
episode? Are you okay?
Yeah, I just feel like
Okay, so one, I think I just threw you off with my dancing to the intro music as we started recording, which I think is fine. I also had this look of confusion because I had a aha moment of did I introduce myself on the Dragon Age Lorecast? I don't think I did. That feels like 10 years ago. What has happened?
What happened is I was like, oh, this is an Assassin versus Templar episode. We said we were going to alternate between these and the objective boards and something else, patron chat. And I was thinking, we haven't done an Assassin versus Templar this whole season because our first 2 episodes were collector's boards. So all of that went through my mind in about 1.25 seconds. And then I just lost all train of thought when we hit record.
Yeah, you know how you always ask me and say to me, I don't understand how your brain works?
Yes.
That is how my brain works.
Well, I guess I understand now.
Yes. So anyway, we're here to talk about Assassin's Creed. That was not our typical intro that we normally do, but I'm Austin or Teacup and you are Shelby or She-Cup.
That's right.
And so, yes, we're talking about an Assassin versus Templar this time to talk about a character that is both historical and in the games. And the great part about Assassin's Creed Shadows is that there's a plethora of this. Like, there are not a lot of like invented characters in Assassin's Creed Shadows. Almost all of them have historical components, like Lady Oichi, Lady Nene, like Mitsuhide, who we're going to talk about today. Like, these are all people that actually existed.
So are there you're saying almost all the characters in Shadows are actual people who really existed, but then also my question is, are there other characters who like maybe don't have the name of a historical figure but are like based on some kind of like legendary person we know?
It's possible. It would have to kind of figure that out. It'll be interesting when we talk about this episode and like what we know historically happened versus what happens in Shadows. So with that, letting you know, today we are talking about Akechi Mitsuhide, who is a main character in Assassin's Creed Shadows. So if you have not finished Assassin's Creed Shadows, if you're waiting to play that and you don't want to be spoiled, this is your spoiler warning that there will be major spoilers for Assassin's Creed Shadows. All right. So I think we're ready to kind of just dive into who Mitsuhide was in the history.
Let's do it.
All right. So he is obviously, as you might know if you've played the game, a Japanese samurai general of the Sengoku period. Mitsuhide, this is a really interesting fact for me, was a bodyguard of the last Ashikaga shogun, Ashikaga Yoshiaki. For spoilers, this is the leader of the Shinbaku. So I think that's an important little thing to have in there as we continue to go forward. And later he becomes a trusted general under the daimyo Oda Nobunaga, which we also know and see, and that's where we meet him in the game. So he begins serving what was called the Wandering Shogun, Ashikaga Yoshiaki, as one of his guardians. So this is important. There have been many, many shoguns and shogunates in Japanese history. I'm not going to go into all of them, but it's not really comparable from what I understand, and Shelby might be able to add a little bit more nuance to this because she knows just a tiny, tiny bit more than I do about East Asia history and stuff. But the shogunates are kind of like when you think of dynasties in the Chinese Empire. I know that's not a one-for-one comparison, but they're kind of similar. Like, different shogunates rise up of different clans and families.
Yeah, and there have just been a lot of different dynasties in both Japanese and Chinese history, and some of them have lasted for a fairly short amount of time, and others have lasted for centuries. I'm not sure about this one specifically, but it's very common for this kind of overturning of power. It's actually fairly uncommon for one certain family to rule for thousands of years.
Yes, and like the Tudor line and the Windsor line and all of that, that in England is something that I think is comparable of them. But these European countries do not have families that rule for 1,000 years, and there are 1,000-year dynasties in Chinese history.
That's very true, and I mean now in Europe, all of the remaining royal families are related to each other.
Yes, they are. So, Yoshiaki, the shogun... Oh, this is what I want to say. I want to say one more point. The show Shogun, that's on Hulu, is based on this period. And, if you are ever, you're playing Assassin's Creed Shadows and, I don't understand the politics of what's happening right now and what's going on, I highly recommend watching this show. Shelby and I haven't finished it, but it is really into this period of, this Sengoku period and this shogunate, and how it falls. And the main character is based on Oda Nobunaga. That is the historical character that the main Japanese character is based off of. And so we got all of that going on. So what's really happening here is Yoshiaki is like trying to establish himself as shogun. Like he is the shogun, but like he's trying to amass power and get people on his side. So that's why he's called the wandering shogun, because he doesn't have like a place of residence or anything like that. So Yoshiaki asks Asakura Yoshikage to be his official protector. So like often a shogun would have like a protector, which is important because like in shogun, like the main person who the English guy like goes under and all that, like he was the protector of the shogun, which is where we get that. And so he asked this person to be his official protector and they declined. And so then later Yoshiaki appears to Mitsuhide, and it is Mitsuhide who recommends Nobunaga to be the protector of the shogunate.
Okay, I have so many thoughts because I feel so bad for this emperor shogun who goes to two people and asks them to be his bodyguard and gets rejected twice. Like, can you imagine?
Yeah, clarification. He doesn't ask Mitsuhide to be his like official protector.
Okay.
He asks Mitsuhide who he should ask because Mitsuhide does not have the political standing to do it right now.
Okay, interesting. Regardless, it's crazy to turn him down for this.
Right, and you have to know that like Japan is nowhere near united in this. Like a lot of times when we think of Japan, we think of like, oh, there's the Emperor of Japan and they've united all of Japan. And that's just like not really how it happened, especially since Japan is an island nation. Like the islands didn't, they didn't come together a lot. Like someone might rule an island, but all four was a lot harder.
Sure.
All right, I actually think there's a lot more islands in Japan than just I'm just thinking of the main ones or whatever. So in 1569, on January 21st, the Miyoshi clan, triumvirate, which is a bunch of Miyoshi clans, attacked Yoshiaki at Honokuji Temple. In this battle, Mitsuhide and Hosokawa Fujitaka defend the shogun and repulsed the Miyoshi clan. So this is important because this is like his first real victory as a general. This is his first like major thing where he like defends his lord and does well and is honorable.
Don't we go to this temple in the game?
Yes, we do. I don't want to say it for verbatim because I didn't do this research as part of this, so I might be wrong. But I think this is where we meet the shogun.
That's what I was thinking too.
But I'm not sure.
Okay.
All right. So like I said, that was his first ever like big victory and all of that. And so following all of that, in April, Mitsuhide worked together with Kinoshita Hideyoshi, who is the Hideyoshi that we meet later in the game, but they changed their name. Like Hideyoshi changes their name. So they're later known by the different name that I'm going to put together later. Niwa Nagahide, who we also meet in the game. And then Nakagawa Shigemasa. And he's tasked as a magistrate, which is kind of like a judge. Like a legal office almost. To manage the government affairs of Kyoto and the surrounding areas under the control of Oda Nobunaga. So this is really important because I kind of skipped a little thing. Basically, Nobunaga moves with Yoshiaki and they start conquering places and they conquer Omi. So basically, yeah, he sets up the shogunate over in Kyoto and then gives it to Mitsuhide. And then he goes over to Omi where he rules from Azuchi. Like that's where he sets up in that area. And like Nobunaga very much established himself as like, I'm the power behind the shogun, which will set him up later when he makes a choice. So after this, Mitsuhide basically continues to assist Nobunaga in various battles, rising with importance in both military and political power with each battle. So, and this is really the important part of like his political and military career. And I know normally when we do this, we talk about people's personalities, but the truth is like, based on the histories of Japan, we don't know a lot about their personalities because the Japanese historians really only recorded deeds.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't really...
They didn't think that was valuable information.
Right. It just is like, it's one of those moments where different cultures value different things historically.
Yeah. And it's not wrong. It's just different.
Mm-hmm. So, but with that, we don't really know. So I'm just kind of talking about his deeds and what he accomplished. And that's kind of what we have to kind of fuel this discussion. When tensions rose between Nobunaga and Yoshiaki, Mitsuhide sided with Nobunaga. Which, to me, when I read that, that's a bold move. Because Yoshiaki is the one he was the bodyguard first. He's the one who recommended Nobunaga. So Mitsuhide, if we think historically, and I'm not going to bring in like the whole Shinbaku thing, because I have all kinds of theories about some things given what we know about them in the Assassin's Creed universe. But like, this would be a big moment. This is someone that the Shogun trusted to be their bodyguard. And Nobunaga the same way, and they betray him.
I hear you, but also what if it's like Mitsuhide is the one that recommended and brought in Nobunaga? So what if it was a grand plan by him, a master plan all along to bring in this guy who's going to eventually overturn the shogunate, and then I'm going to go side with him?
Right. I mean, that might have been it. It's just interesting given what we know happens later.
Yeah, I know.
But like, this is a point of like, he's turned against his first lord. And later, he's going to turn against.
Well, I mean, I think about it kind of the same way we talk about like cheating on your spouse. They say, you know, how you got them. Oh, what is the phrase?
How you got them is how you lose them.
Yes, something similar to that. Where it's like if somebody cheats on you, or if you cheat with somebody, then they're going to end up cheating on you. It's kind of the same way. Like if you betray somebody to get this other person in, well, then they're gonna betray you, or vice versa.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think about Star Wars, where it's like all the Sith know how to betray each other. Like, there's no loyalty, there's no
exactly
under there.
And I do think that once you get into starting this cycle of betrayal, like, it is a circular cycle where it just, once it starts, it continues on and on and on until all you have left is bodies on the floor.
Yeah. Well, because people who betray and do all of that have loyalty only to themselves.
Exactly.
And so you're never going to have loyalty beyond the minute you stop being useful to that person, they're going to betray you. So for his loyalty, Mitsuhide is granted a lot of political and military power by Nobunaga. He is one of the most trusted generals. And I think in the games we kind of see this in there. Like, there's a big war council scene where it's like Mitsuhide is the one giving recommendations, and like, it's a big deal when Yasuke speaks out in this. But like, Mitsuhide is a lead general. When he shows up in the tea ceremony in one of Naoe's stories, in that tea ceremony quest, like, it's a big deal. Like, he represents Nobunaga. He is Nobunaga when Nobunaga sends him somewhere. So in 1582, Mitsuhide was ordered by Nobunaga to march west to assist Hashiba Hideyoshi, who was the same as we talked about earlier, who was at that time fighting the Mori clan. Mitsuhide ignores these orders and assembles an army of 13,000 soldiers and moved against Nobunaga's position at Honnoji. On June 21st, Mitsuhide was quoted by saying, "The enemy is at Honnoji." His army surrounded the temple and eventually set fire. Oda Nobunaga was killed either during the fighting or he took his own life, which we see that in the game. This is a moment that kind of just turned the entire Sengoku period on its head. It's this big moment, this big betrayal, and, you know, Oda Nobunaga at that point is rising to be this like grand conqueror through all of Japan, and then he's betrayed and he's killed, and chaos releases through. And we're going to talk about kind of why that happens. Like, Mitsuhide's betrayal shocked the capital, and he was forced to move quickly to secure his position. He looted Azuchi Castle to reward his men and maintain their loyalty. He also attempted to make gestures of friendship to a panicked imperial court. He also made attempts to win over the other clans, but this ultimately failed him. And it fails him for one particular reason, which is why one of his former generals remarks on, which is he failed to produce the head of Nobunaga or Nobunaga's son. And like in this kind of culture, like providing the head of your enemy was a way of saying like, I've advanced, I have done the thing that is honorable, like this is an honorable transition. Mitsuhide needed that for the transition of power, which is why I think Assassin's Creed Shadows leans into that Nobunaga takes his own life version, because it's like his final act of defiance of saying like, no, like you're not going to get to do that. And I think that having Yasuke do it and taking his own life basically robs Mitsuhide of that. So Hideyoshi at this point basically spins his propaganda that Nobunaga was still alive and escaped the assassination attempt. This caused Mitsuhide's reputation to be further undermined as many began to doubt his capability to kill Nobunaga. And while most of the Oda vassals and allies expecting the return of Nobunaga, rather than basically accepting the term of Nobunaga, and they picked that over accepting the invitation from Mitsuhide to join them. So Mitsuhide at this point basically thinks he's going to be able to conquer because Hideyoshi is fighting the Mori clan. And he kind of banks on that. He banks that Hideyoshi is going to be busy fighting the Mori clan, and that will keep him focused, and I can conquer Japan and do that. Well, after Hideyoshi learns that Mitsuhide kills Nobunaga, he signs a peace treaty, and along with Tokugawa Ieyasu, basically rushes to avenge Nobunaga. So Hideyoshi force-marched his army to Setsu in 4 days and caught Mitsuhide off guard. And so Mitsuhide loses this battle, he fleds, and a bandit leader named Nakamura Chobe kills Mitsuhide as Mitsuhide is fleeing the battle. And so before we kind of wrap this up and go to the mid-break, I want you to, we're going to sit on this. Historically, we have no earthly idea why Mitsuhide betrayed Nobunaga. It's never stated, other than him saying the real enemy is that Honnouji. Lots of theories whether he didn't actually support the betrayal and turning against the shogun. What was going on there? We don't know.
Well, I guess we can theorize about it when we come back from the mid-break.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do it.
This podcast is supported by FX's English Teacher. Last year's critically acclaimed series returns to follow Evan, Gwen, and Marky as they vie for their students' divided attention. See why Cosmopolitan called its premiere season a masterclass of comedy, while Glamour raved it's the year's funniest and most heartwarming new comedy series. FX's English Teacher, all new Thursdays on FX. All episodes now streaming on Hulu.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by The Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
Wish you could become a morning person? You know the type, up before the sun, early morning runs, first one to the office with donuts and a smile. How do they do it? Easy. With the new Galaxy Watch 8, sleep tracking and personalized insights from Samsung Health help you improve so you can wake up to a whole new you. One who, dare I say it, skips the snooze? It's possible. Train your sleep with Galaxy Watch 8. Learn more at Samsung.com. Requires compatible Samsung Galaxy phone, Samsung Health app, and Samsung account.
You look like the one thing in the world that Alcibiades wouldn't take to bed. Can you even see out of that thing?
Mock all you want. When those Malakas and Zakros see this beast charging towards them, They will know fear!
Let's start light. Tell me a joke.
Why must samurai always battle one another? Because there is only one way for a samurai to get ahead. Ahead. I did not say it was a good joke.
Makose! Shoot! Shoot the flying demon!
All right, welcome to the middle of the show. This is where we take time to do talk about all the things that have to do with Assassin's Creed Lorecast and not the lore of Assassin's Creed. So the first thing that we do every week is thank all of our awesome patrons. Thank you all so much for financially supporting the show. We couldn't keep doing it without you. And if you would like to support us and the work we do, you can do that at patreon.com/aclorecast. And if you can't support us financially, then the next best way to support us is by leaving us a rating or a review or some kind words on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you can. And we'll read it out on a future episode of the show. I'm sure we have one to read, but we don't have one in the show notes. So leave us one and we will read it out on next week's episode. And the last thing that I have to shout out is our Discord server. It's a great place to hang out on the internet. If you're playing Shadows and have questions, want to commiserate, or just had a funny bug, definitely come join the server and show us and tell us all about it. And you can find the link to the server in the episode description. And with that, let's get back into it.
Did you know that parents rank teaching financial literacy as the toughest life skill? That's where Greenlight comes in, the debit card and money app made for families. With Greenlight, you can send money quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and track spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn how to earn, save, and spend responsibly, while parents have peace of mind knowing smart money habits are being built. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/Spotify.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, this is Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast, here to help you make the most of your summer with Michelob Ultra, a superior light beer worth playing for. Play for it with the guys when you're competing to see who can sink more birdies on the golf course, because winning tastes even better with Ultra on the line. Play for Ultra. Fill your fridge with Michelob Ultra this summer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
No, you're right. Let's all just screw around while the world falls to pieces.
Hey, this isn't easy, you know.
Right, like we're all on vacation out here? Enough! Look, everyone's under a lot of pressure, but we're the only ones who can stop Abstergo, so we need to keep it together.
She's right. We need to be a hive mind, people. Anybody up for some reconciliatory yoga? Anyone?
Very funny, guys.
You have my thanks. Keep the sword, Ezio. Do I know you from somewhere? Don't you recognize me? It's me, Mario!
Uncle Mario?
It's been too long, Nipote. Far too long.
Malaka! Malaka! Malaka!
All right. So, with his Assassin's Creed involvement, all of his earlier history is the same. Like his rise to power and his prominence in politics, all of that is the same. And then we meet him first in the tea ceremony quest, where he walks in and then he becomes your contact, who basically tells you that Nobunaga is the leader of the Shinbaku, which is the group of like people who killed your father as Naoe, and he sends Naoe to kill Nobunaga. Now, I just want to talk about this. Like, when I played this game, I didn't trust Mitsuhide as far as I could throw him.
Me too. I've always thought you're affiliated with the Templars 100% of the time.
Right. And like, I always knew like deep down in my bones that like the Nobunaga thing was a red herring. Like, just because I knew Yasuke was serving him, and I was like, I don't think they're gonna make him serve the Templars.
Well, and I mean, we also did an Assassin versus Templar episode on Nobunaga earlier before Shadows came out. And I just, after that episode, very much felt like with his history, with his story in our history, and with some of the things that we knew he had done in the Assassin's Creed universe already, I just like didn't feel like they were going to make him a fully fledged Templar or assassin, really, for that matter. But I just like did not believe that he was the leader of the Templars.
Right. And so after all this, basically Mitsuhide betrays Nobunaga. Like, Naoe tries to kill him, and then he's basically like, no, I don't know anything about the death of your father. Or, like, I don't know anything about what you're talking about. Yasuke comes in, they meet, all of that happens in there. And we know that Mitsuhide betrays Nobunaga for the Shinbaku power, which we know that he is a member of. However, I think he does it for a different reason. And I think that it plays out, because let's play this out in Assassin's Creed universe with that. The Shogun who he served is the leader of the Shinbaku, which in my mind means that Mitsuhide would not side with Nobunaga in this conflict unless the Shogun ordered him to. Unless the Shogun said, yes, you stay there. You stay there so that we keep a Shinbaku in Nobunaga's inner circle.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
And I think at this point, like, Mitsuhide kind of jumps at power a little too early. He sees a weakness in that, like, Nobunaga basically, like, has, you know, gone to Hinoji. Like, he is amassing power, but he's kind of slowing down a little bit, trying to, like, bring and subdue several clans at once. And I think Mitsuhide misreads a moment of weakness, because the generals are disagreeing with what Nobunaga is doing. Like, they don't necessarily all agree in what should be done. Like, Hideyoshi and Ieyasu, like, they all kind of...
They express doubt.
They express doubts and all that. So I think Mitsuhide reads that as like, oh, I can rally them to our cause. When in reality, you just united them more against you because you killed their lord. And, like, I think it's a big, like, miscalculation on his part, because, like, in Japanese culture, like, loyalty is one of the...
It's everything.
It's a first value. And so, like, they're going to unite against you even though they don't exist. And, like, Tokugawa Ieyasu is the one who kind of, like, rises up and replaces Nobunaga eventually, and he doesn't last long either. And so, like, it just is...
I have a lot of thoughts. Number one, nobody's going to replace Nobunaga and be effective, because he occupied a place, a very unique place, where he was able to unify so many people that nobody else could do. But secondly, I think the thing I keep coming back to with Mitsuhide is that, and normally I'm saying the opposite about characters, he is a deeply emotionally unintelligent person. He does not read people well. He does not think through the emotional consequences of a decision. He thinks through the tactical ones. He thinks through the political ramifications, but he doesn't think about how people are going to feel. It's always going to be a hard sell to get people to come to your side, abandon their lord after you've attacked their friends.
And, like, Nobunaga, from what we all know, was, like, a person who united his generals not only through, like, reward and, like, loyalty of, like, oh, they're my lord, but, like, he had a vision of a united Japan. Like, and that kind of charisma is not easy to replace. And so, yeah, that's it. And so, you know, in history, they say he's killed by a bandit leader. In reality, in Assassin's Creed, he's killed by the protagonist, where Naoe is the one who kills him. I like to think in the Assassin's Creed universe, both are true, and that Japanese historians just didn't want to admit that a samurai general was taken down by a woman.
Oh, yeah, or that they don't actually know who killed him, and they just assume it was some kind of bandit.
Right.
Staying in the shadows and all that.
Exactly. So he is a Shinbaku, which doesn't actually make him a Templar because the Shogun is the only Shinbaku who is a Templar.
An actual Templar. Yeah, I
Right.
know. We've been calling them Templars this whole episode.
Right.
I'm sure there's going to be somebody in the comments.
Right. So they're not really Templars. So he's not a Templar, but he's like Templar adjacent. And so did Ubisoft get it right? Do you think this is what it is? I mean, I tend to think so because I think he would gravitate towards power wherever it lies.
Yes, I 100% agree. I think that this Mitsuhide is a person who at all costs wants to climb the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of those people that would stop at nothing to get to the top. And, I am always, in my opinion, I think the best leaders, political or any other kind, are the ones who are reluctant. And he's the opposite of that. And I think most Templars are the opposite of that. And so, yeah, I agree. I think that he would be a Templar. I think that he would have made a terrible shogun, a terrible leader for Japan. And all around, I never trusted him for a single moment in this game.
Right. Especially after his son-in-law is such a dick to you.
God. Yes.
He's I forget what his
I
what
hated
his
him
first
so
name
much, I
is.
blocked it all out.
Right. So yeah, there's that. I tend to agree with that. I agree with him being a Templar and being reluctant to power is that shouldn't be your Templar mode. The whole Templar ideology is that they need to seize power because humans are not worthy of having it.
True.
I think the only Templar, there are two Templars that come to mind that I think are actually reluctant for power, and it's Haytham Kenway and Otto Berg.
Mm-hmm. Both
take power because they see it as their responsibility, not because it's something they desire
for themselves.
Yeah.
Yes. I agree with that. And I also think those two characters are ones that are not very Templar when you come down to really think about it. With a few different life choices, they very easily could have ended up on the opposite side. Mitsuhide is not like that.
No.
There is no world in which I see Mitsuhide as an assassin. So it's either Mitsuhide as a Templar or Mitsuhide as an unaffiliated.
Yeah, I exactly agree with that. So anyway, that's Mitsuhide. If you haven't played Shadows and you are made it this far, it's a great game. Mitsuhide serves as a pretty good villain for wanting to take down and at least for me.
I mean, I think he's kind of forgettable, honestly. I liked the Emperor more. The Shogun.
The Shogun, yeah. I wish we had gotten more of him.
Yeah, me too.
But it is what it is.
Yeah. We can't always get what we want.
We cannot.
All right. Well, thanks again, as always, for doing the research. This has been a really interesting one. Mitsuhide is not a character that I particularly care about, but this definitely gave me a little bit more background and piqued my interest a little bit. So thanks again for doing the research, and thank you for listening to the Assassin's Creed Lorecast. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Assassin's Creed Lorecast. You can find us on Twitter at AC Lorecast.
If you have any lore questions or topics to unpack, join our Cups Podcasting and More Discord server. It's the best place on the internet. You can also support us financially through our Patreon. Find us on patreon.com/Assassin's Creed Lorecast. The Assassin's Creed Lorecast is part of the Robots Radio Network. For more information about the Robots Radio Network, join the Discord server via the link in our episode's description.
If you enjoyed the show or learned something new today, please subscribe, leave us a review, and join the Patreon. And if you enjoyed our intro and outro music, make sure you give a big thank you to Pipeman Studios. Thank you, Pipeman. Thanks again for listening to the Assassin's Creed Lorecast. And always remember, Assassins, stay in the shadows to serve the light.
Hi, welcome to 3 Count Thoughts. Let me introduce the crew real quick.
Hi, I'm Maverick Stone.
I'm Romer.
And I'm Jaxus. Join us as we talk all things wrestling. Each week, we'll take a topic from the wrestling world, knock it around a bit, and then go over the week in wrestling from a strictly fan perspective. We can be found on all major podcast catchers. We can also be found at 3 Count Thoughts on both YouTube and Twitter. Or you can send us an email using 3countthoughts@gmail.com. Okay, are you ready? Ring the bell.